Oh, I didn't see you there. You guys caught me just doing a little tactical training with the old M1 Garand. It's the only rifle I have, so I just gotta. I'm just kidding, of course. You guys hear me talk a lot about how you just gotta have fun with guns, and that everything isn't about training and tactical stuff and all that kind of thing. And while I think some of that stuff is great, of course, there's plenty of people to tell you about that and to inform you about that and tell you everything you need to know about being ready for the apocalypse and all that kind of stuff. So I like to try to be a voice for being able to enjoy firearms and to not feel shamed for collecting guns or appreciating the history of old guns that may be, outdated. Dare I say that about the, shouldn't say that in front of such a great gun, but it is. I mean, it's outdated. You're not going to see someone carrying this thing into battle unless it was like all they could find or something like that. So I was just being a little silly. I don't mean to actually make fun of people who train. Obviously that's a worthy endeavor, but I will make fun of people who will give people who like to collect guns a hard time for doing so, because that's ridiculous, right? You can do two things. You can train and have ARs and stack cases upon cases of ammo and spend thousands on training classes, and also buy something like this 1943 vintage M1 Garand and appreciate the history of it and take it out and enjoy shooting it and not feel like a training exercise. So anyway, so I'll get off my soapbox and just talk about this, how beautiful this rifle is. I mean, it's so neat. I really kind of grew up with this thing. Dad bought this gun when I was pretty young, maybe, I don't know, 10 years old, something like that. He's had it for almost 20 years now, I think. And it's just a beautiful gun. It's got just the right amount of wear on it to where it really looks like it's been used, but yet it's not so rough to where you're afraid to shoot it. It's in pretty good working condition and everything. It's a Springfield, and that's the real Springfield, the Springfield Armory, not the one that's around now that makes, we see like the XDs and the 1911s, or the new 1911s and stuff like that. It's the original Springfield, the government firearms, I don't know if you call it a company, plant, whatever. They used to make guns under that name, Springfield Armory. And it's one of those that has a Winchester trigger group in it. It's a pretty nice one. It's fairly collectible as far as Garands go. And there's just something neat about having an M1 Garand in your hand for a few different reasons. Of course, all the movies and stuff, everyone's seen Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers and all the, thousands of World War II movies out there. This gun is just a staple of those movies. It's like the Model 92 Winchester of World War II movies. It really is. And then obviously the reason those movies exist is because it was such an important part of our history and such a turbulent time in history, and the war against the Nazis and against Japan and all that. It's just a really interesting time, and it's neat that we live in a country free enough to where we can own something like this and still be able to take them out and enjoy them and try to maybe imagine the best we can of what that might have been like to lug this big old heavy thing through the jungles of Japan, or the hedgerows in France and around Germany and stuff like that. It's just interesting. And it'd be nice to know where exactly this gun was in World War II. Like Dad has a 1911 that we actually know was in the Pacific Theater and was carried by a minesweeper, but we don't know anything about this one. So you can only speculate. One thing I will show you guys though, it's kind of interesting, is it has these, if you can see them, it has these little markings right here. Now this could be where it was leaning up against something and it was just, there was I don't know, something that would just happen often and it would get nicked right there. But it kind of looks a little intentional. So somebody could have been tallying up something. So it's kind of interesting. And of course you look at all the dings and scratches, and some of these could have been from some guy who owned this gun in the 60s or something and didn't think much about it at the time and just threw it in the back of his truck. But they could also be from actual World War II combat, and that's an interesting, it's just neat. It's neat to be able to hold it and look at it. It's just a really cool gun. So, all right, I'll stop gloating over it and shoot it one more time. Of course, the Garand has the famous in-block clip, which I feel a little bit weird about calling it that, just because people make such a big deal about the clip versus magazine thing. But this is a clip, and it's going into a magazine. So, all right, a few more shots with it, and I'll shoot it like a regular human being this time. Get that red plate over there. Go for the smaller one on the right. I think I shot under it, maybe. Can't see where they're going. Try one more time. All right, go back to the bigger one. Of course, the classic ping sound. Something else that I've heard about the Garand is that one of the disadvantages of it was that the enemy soldiers would hear the ping and would know that you were empty, and that was a disadvantage. Which I'm not going to say that never happened, because I could see maybe like in a one-on-one situation, it was really quiet or something like that. That it, if you weren't thinking about it, then maybe that could happen. But I think for the most part, that probably wasn't a factor, just because of how loud wars are. I've never been in a war, but I've been to Knob Creek, and a lot of guns are fired off there, and I don't think I'd be hearing a Garand ping amongst all of that. So I don't know if that could be just one of those rumors. I don't know if that ever happened or not, but interesting to think about, because it is a very definite sound, and it does mean that you're empty for sure when you hear that. But just such a neat gun. I grew up with it, shooting it a lot, and it as a young kid, it kind of gave me do I dare say more realistic maybe impression of what maybe some aspects of World War II might have been like, just because I knew how heavy those guns were. I saw the movies, and I knew what the recoil was like, and the smells and the sounds and everything. It just kind of helped paint a little bit more complete picture, for someone who wasn't there. Obviously, I think I'm a little bit too young to have been in World War II, so don't give me a hard time for not signing up or anything. But a neat gun, a huge part of American history, and I'm just, in case you can't tell, I'm just glad to just have it in my hands and put it on camera for you guys. And before I forget, I also want to thank Federal Cartridge Company, that we were shooting some of their ammo in this thing. Shoots pretty great. And then also SDI, check them out at sdi.edu. They're an online accredited gunsmithing college, and they do some other things too with the firearms industry. So go check them out, sdi.edu. And I'll see you on the next one. Appreciate it.